I've been journaling for 2 weeks now. I'm following the book The Artist Way, and I want to share with you my progress. So this week I focused on two different topics, and there was a last minute one that appeared that I wanted to write about. But the first two, the ones that I focused on, are on my creativity in my childhood, like one specific time frame that it was when I was at school. About the creativity one, I've been following the book, the different exercises. What I did this week, actually, I kind of mixed a little bit of the last week exercises with this week's exercises. And about my creativity, I realized that there's things that I felt like resistance, because there was a part in the book that I had to read some affirmations about creativity. And I was supposed to read them every day because, when you have affirmations, you're supposed to repeat them every day. But honestly, I feel that technique doesn't work with me. I don't like it because just repeating it doesn't mean you are absorbing it and making it your new belief. So what I like to do, and I don't know, this could help anyone. What I like to do with affirmations is that I first want to be conscious of that one belief or thought that I have programmed in my head. Whatever it is, for example, something that you think. What do you think about your creativity? Um you could think, I am not creative. So the first step would be to be conscious of that belief. And what I like to do also is to come up with my own affirmations. So, for example, in this case, it could be, I am really creative and new ideas are flowing to me constantly. And then what I do, I meditate. I close my eyes, I do breathe in, I try to relax, and when I feel I'm relaxed, I bring back to my conscious part, my conscious brain, the negative thought or the belief that I want to change, and I say it again. I believe or I feel I'm not creative enough. And then I change it and I put the new one and I start repeating the new one. I believe I am a creative person because I love to create. And you can maybe bring an example of a one time that you were maybe you sat down and you brainstorm ideas, and you can have that idea, so you can reinforce that and you can repeat to yourself all these affirmations, and ideas come to me constantly. And I want to stop thinking that I am not creative, and I want to start thinking that I am creative and that ideas flow to me constantly. I do this until I feel that new belief is part of me. I don't know how to explain this, that you will know when you start believing that, because you won't feel fear, and you won't feel resistance. You would feel fine. You would feel in peace, like it's part of you, and you will be, and that will be your new belief. You can sometimes repeat to yourself whenever you're doing something that's creative, you're drawing, painting, whatever you like, to just repeat to yourself, I am creative. Ideas are flowing to me constantly. And that also, I feel, reinforces what you're doing. So that's why I don't feel like repeating affirmations every day, just reading, it's gonna become part of you. Because it's just it's just in the surface. You're not taking all that negative stuff that you have in your head and replacing it. You're just putting new ideas on top of things that are your beliefs. So you're not going to take those away. You're just going to put things on top of it. So what I decided to do is to just read them, go one by one. There were I think there were 10 affirmations. I read one by one and try to see if I felt anything, if I felt scared or resistance or just something in your chest where you're I don't believe that. And there were three, I think, that I felt that, and I just wrote them down, and I just write down if I felt scared, why I felt scared, why do I feel that way. I ask myself so I can, continue like answering questions to get to the root. And I still, of course, I still need to work on that because the first week I didn't find anything. I thought I was like creative and I was like really open to it. The second week I saw that there are things that I have to work on. So that's cool because I'm making progress. The next thing that I worked on was my childhood when I was at school. And what I did, that's why I went back to the first week because there was an exercise about writing a letter to your monsters, I think it's called in English, because I'm reading it in Spanish. But I think it's the same. And instead of like to the monsters, I wrote it to my classmates of that time period, and I just let everything out as if it was like my young self talking to them and being like, "Hey, I didn't like when this happened," or "I like when this happened," whatever. I'm grateful and things like that, and just I just let everything out, trying to put all the memories and everything I had from that moment, trying to see if I could, I was just like exploring my memory and trying to find things that I could work on. And I feel I found something interesting because when I was a little kid, I would always feel like I was different from them because they would always have like Game Boys and they would be playing at recess in the breaks and it would be talking, and I just remember myself just being there like I don't feel part of this group. Like I don't even know what they are talking about or what they're doing. Like it looked cool, but like I didn't know what they were doing and I didn't know what they were talking about, and I just felt like a stranger in there. So I feel that's something that I still have to work on because even when things are in the past, they still show. Doesn't necessarily has to be like in the same way, just feeling different because someone has something that you don't, but maybe it feels different when people like things that you don't, or you feel you don't fit with certain people. I mean, it's normal, right? I feel it's normal because sometimes people don't like the same things as you, but at the same time, like you could be friends with that people, right? Maybe that's the thing. Like, I just feel like I don't want to be, or I don't feel like we fit, so I'm like, we're not gonna be friends because we don't have like the same interests. And I feel that's also fine. Maybe I just have to look somewhere else. There was also an exercise I'm gonna show you. Um, we had to make like a diagram. So the author called it the cake of life. I'm translating a literal translation. Maybe it's not called like that, but in Spanish it's like cake of life, and it's divided in six different parts: spirituality, exercise, play, work, friends, romance, and adventure, both in the same one. And I drew mine, and you have to like put where with just a dot where you feel you are at, and then you just have to connect all of the different six different dots. And mine doesn't look as good. I just feel I have like all these parts of me that are just like that I haven't paid attention to. But at the same time, I don't worry because I'm just getting to it. I've been I've been working on myself for like, well, actually, I've been working on myself for a long time, but a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, into 2023, like September, October, I realized something about myself that actually changed the way I saw things, and I just started working on myself more, and it actually helped me realize so many things of myself. Like I learned so many things of myself that it actually helped me a lot, and I feel like this last year I've improved a lot. So I'm just getting slowly to work on all these areas. So, because of like what I realized, I kind of been a little bit disconnected with spirituality because of like what was happening. I would always connect it like to um like destiny and soulmates and all of these things. And then when realizing what was happening, it was like none of it never made sense. Like none of it was ever connected to anything like that. So my spirituality level just went down like really fast. Exercise, I'm trying to exercise more. If it's like physical exercise, I'm trying a little bit more. But it's not like my favorite thing, but I think it's something I should do, right? Play. I don't play a lot. I thought about this as in like maybe playing video games, but like in general, I don't play like any sports. That could be exercise, but I don't play any sports. I don't play video games. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I kind of have like different stages in during my life. I mean, like during my year. Sometimes I focus on playing video games for like a few months. I finish a game or I find another one, and I just like stop playing that, and then I focus on something else, creating, I don't know, like painting for example. Then I just switch and I go like that for different interests. Work, it's kind of low, but it's not because I don't like what I do, because I actually enjoy it. Maybe it should be a little bit higher, but because I would like to make art my career and focus like more on it, and make it more, I don't know how to explain, like more, So that's why it's kind of low, because art, it's been like, I've been really, I've kind of stopped with my paintings and stuff. I'm kind of getting back to it. I'm doing automatic drawing a little bit more. These days because of the artist dates. So I'm gonna show you those drawings too that I've made this week. About friendship, it's kind of low too. All of them are kind of low, but friendship, like actually, it could be a little bit higher because I'm like, I hang out with my friends, but it's not like my main priority to be always like going out with my friends or spending like a lot of time with them. I spend time with them, but not as often. But I think it's also fine. You can talk to them. They're also like busy people, so like it's normal. And romance adventure, it's like halfway there, because romance, it's pretty good. Adventure, it's the one that's like, it could be better. I feel, I mean, it's not bad actually, because I travel like often, so maybe it should be higher. Now that I'm thinking about it, sometimes I just forget stuff, and then other times I just think about the same things, and I'm like, oh wait, actually I forgot this. So this could be the time. Maybe I could just like put a little bit higher a few of those categories. Um, but yeah, that was one exercise that I did. The last topic actually happened last night when I was watching a series called The Age Show, and the series started like really cool. I thought this is something that I like. But it got to a point where, I don't know if you guys know this show, it kind of, there were people that I feel they were not doing good in life. There are different floors, 8 floors, and each person goes in one floor. And the four levels, 5, 6, 7, 8, are like the ones that have earn more money and have like a bigger room. The ones low, they don't earn as much. They have less space. So the ones on top just start to take control of the ones in the low area, and they were just making them like play games and stuff that were kind of aggressive. I just don't like when there's things like that where someone has to hurt another person and without a reason. Like out of nowhere, because it was just a game, but like there's no reason to be like so aggressive. And it was becoming a little bit more aggressive, and I was just being like really anxious. I watched 2 episodes last night. I was really anxious. Like I think I left one halfway because it was just too much for me, and I was feeling really anxious. And it just kind of, I was wondering, Why do I feel this way? I just was thinking the whole time, it's just not fair. People should defend themselves because that's not fair. Why four of them have to take advantage of the other four? Like they're kind of like the same level, but it makes sense of all the things they did, why they had to like obey to those four. And it was just making me really, really anxious. And I thought maybe I could write about this and let everything out. And it just kind of took me back to my childhood, where my grandma was kind of strict and a little bit aggressive, and she would just like punish me for like whenever I didn't do something like how she wanted it. And I feel, because I don't have like a lot of memories, I just go through like sensations, feelings like, oh, I think this used to happen. Like I have feeling this happened, and that's how it just kind of, it's like a guide, like I'm just guided by what I feel happen, and the sensations I have. And I feel it was something like that where she would just be like that kind of aggressive, and just me thinking this is not fair, and that I didn't want to be there, that there was like no reason to do things like that. So for me to let everything out, I actually wrote a letter to my grandma. I let everything out as if it was like my younger self. So it was like young Ollie writing to her and letting everything out, what she thought at that moment. And it was kind of interesting because some of the things that I was like repeating in my head were things that I like thought at that moment when I was living, in my childhood. And it makes sense why I did, like that show was making me really anxious, and why I was repeating like the same things, because it was kind of not the same situation. Of course, the show was really like way too much, but it was something like similar where there's people that like they can't defend themselves, and then there's this person just like trying to take advantage of that. It's kind of healing because now I see a part that I didn't know was there, and I just let it all out. Maybe I will go back and check, and write the memories like how I did with like the letter for my classmates of that time, and just like let all the memories out, because I've noticed that when I let all the memories out of a certain time, they just like they're no longer as important, and they no longer feel as heavy as they did, and they are not even as important. And I think that's a great way to heal too.